Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this session. And today's our special guest, Honorable Heather Latif from Denmark. He is doing the postdoc and his PhD from Denmark, and he has the vast experience how to search or secure job in Denmark. And all the students who want master and especially PhD or postdoc, they can get the guidance from him, and he is in specialty in mechanical HVAC, and but overall procedure is the same for all students. So thank you very much, Heather Latif, to join this session, and really appreciate to have you in this session. And I'm motivated how we can guide the audience step by step for the masters or PhD positions or postdoc opportunities or even research or industry jobs, how to secure that one. So first of all, I'm curious about your journey from Pakistan to Denmark. Can you please explain about that? How you completed this transition, and how was the experience?
First of all, thank you so much for inviting. Thank you so much for everyone who is actually watching and also the one who is actually interested in pursuing PhD, postdoc, anything that is relevant to Denmark or in Europe. um, I'm basically just a little bit. Thank you for the introduction, by the way. And some about the transition. It's actually everyone at the moment is looking for opportunities abroad. So you have to be very much concise and very much precise about something that where you have to go and where which area you have to go. So when I did my bachelor's like in mechanical engineering from UT Lahore, it was very much clear for me that being an engineer, I have to look for some area where there is more demand in the countries where I am actually targeting as a PhD for fellowship and anything like that. So I did my master's actually from UT Lahore because my goal was very clear that I have to move abroad and I have to do PhD and I have to continue my education. So for me, the master was not that important as for PhD. So for that, I did my master from UT Lahore from same university where I had the bachelor's. Uh, and that in that 2 years or the 1 year of my bachelor's, I actually identified that which area I should be going at, and I just shortlisted or I just made my mind towards one of the area called HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. And for that, keeping that in mind, I started looking for countries like where there is a good strong research groups where I can target, where I can apply, and I can apply for fellowship. I can apply for different positions actually that are vacancies. So I applied for, basically my aim was to go to USA, United States at the start, but due to some what we can say, the research groups were starting a bit late. I had to wait for one another year to start my PhD over there. So I got a fellowship in Denmark. So and I made my area strong, and then that helped me to identify which country I have to go. So Denmark is very good with the building design, infrastructure, and all this stuff. So so this is why I just landed over there. It was not Denmark in the start, but it was something that actually happened to me. So yeah.
That's nice. That's nice. And for example, how Dr. Heather, how can we find funded master or PhD programs in Denmark? Can you please explain about this? Any links, online links, which will be helpful, and documentation process or something like that?
Actually, about the master thing, what we can say is that like 5 years back or maybe more, there were a lot of opportunities for masters in Denmark, and people I know, they are my friends now. They actually came to Denmark on scholarships to some of the universities. They were more university oriented scholarships. They were not from the government, because the government of Denmark actually a few years back, they actually decided that they will be making this a money business. Like in UK, you know that you apply for different master program and you have to pay, and then you just earn your masters. So previously, like right now right now. Just 1 year ago, there was in Norway and in Sweden, it was, the education was free, but they made the regulations that only the EU citizens will be having this opportunity. So for them, it's a lot of opportunity. They don't need to pay anything, even they get scholarships. But for master just for master programs, there were a lot of from the universities. There is nothing in the universe, on the globe, on the Denmark scale, on the government scale. There's nothing else. There's nothing over there. But if you just look at the university, there is University of Southern Denmark. It offers a lot of, it has a lot of funding, and it is like the future view say that is one of going to be the one of the best universities in Denmark in future. So they offer a lot of scholarships for master students, but timely, not like every time they have a program they just, you just enter and you go. So there are 5 or 6 big universities in Denmark. One of them is University of Copenhagen, another one is Aalborg University, a University of Southern Denmark, Odense University. Then there is Denmark Technical University. So these all actually now charge money for international students, like from Pakistan. But for Southern Denmark and maybe in University of Copenhagen, there are some opportunities even for the master students. So yeah.
So, Dr. Hadda is people are want to understand what's the difference on the scholarship or the tuition fees or something like that. How much to pay as compared to other European countries. For example, some countries have Austria, or some countries are have less amount to pay, and so, for example, Germany. Comparison with Denmark, how you highlight these kind of things?
So if there is about, if you just go with the comparison, the Scandinavia overall, Denmark, Sweden, Norway, Finland, Iceland, these all countries actually have a high standard of living. So there is a lot of, there are high salaries, like they are above the normal limit of European per hour or whatever you say. But at the same time, they have a higher tuition fees too. Like if we just talk about in Pakistani rupees, I know some of the students because they are paying. In Sweden, they paid like for 1 year, in Pakistani rupee, you can say that 1 crore. Like it is a charge. It's a lot of money. It's a lot of, but having said that, there are some programs. Even I was, I'm sorry, even like 2 months ago, I was in Sweden and I was staying with one of my friend. He actually started his masters in media and communications, and it was from it was, I don't remember the exact university. There are a lot of universities in Gothenburg. It was one of the universities, and it was in the city. And um, he was paying almost like it was charging him like for 2 years whole fees, everything included. It was charging him around like same as 5 to 8 million rupees, Pakistani rupees, the tuition fees. So it's a lot of fees. The fees is a lot in Scandinavia. When you compare with Germany, Germany has a state policy. If you just examine few of the universities, like some, there are some universities that you can pay, but in most of the universities the education is free. It's from the state, because they have a economic, or they have some business model that works, that you bring the money, you just create the blog account, and your money is being spent on you. Instead, you are just spending, giving it to them. So Germany is like a different case. If you talk about Spain, I have I was in Spain also in November, and the same, I was staying with the Pakistan Student Association people over there. They actually were saying the same thing, that some people have to pay very less, but it's not that much. It's very less in Spain. Even they say that they have to exempt. They usually get exempted by some way or some other way. So Scandinavia is super expensive. It's just like America. I can say that you have to pay if you don't have any scholarship, international scholarship like Erasmus Mundus or something like that. You have to pay.
Okay, that's nice. And also another thing, for example, your transition from PhD to postdoc, or even to find the job in Denmark after PhD. All the students who are just completing the PhD, what do you think? What's the guideline you have given, because you already done this transition?
Um, yeah. So for me, I just, as I told you in the start, for me, when I was even in bachelor's, when I was in mechanical engineering, I had my mind that I have to do PhD, I have to go in education, and I have to go in this field. So for me, the career path was very obvious. because the reason was because if I have to stay future in Pakistan, if I see that, like for example, okay, I have to spend some. So for as an engineer, there are not much opportunities, and also there is no such thing like industry that is growing. So there's nothing something like you can say that that engineering tag, if I'm engineering, it's not, the bachelor is not taking away, you are not, nobody is taking away the bachelor title from you. So so my idea was that I just did my bachelor's, I had my mind in my bachelor's that I have to do PhD. So I did my master's from UT Lahore, and I did the same field like HVAC air conditioning. I did the master's in that. I had some publications in master's, and then I got the fellowship in PhD. And I continued my work, even my postdoc. I have two postdocs, and in both of my postdocs, I have to work with the same thing. So if you have to do the PhD, it's not a small, or it's not a, you should not take it as a degree only, you should take it as a big step in your life, because it gives you, it gives you a lot of it gives you a lot of learning. You can, for example, in master you can just complete your masters maybe in 2 years or 2.5 years or 3 years, but PhD is something that you have to work a lot. If there is no interest in that subject, you cannot do your PhD. Even if you do your PhD, you will be not be that much satisfied with the work that you have done. So you just select your area, maybe even you are in masters, even if you are in bachelor. So I will recommend, select your area and then go for something, the positions of PhD. Like don't just apply for anything that you get, just select one area and then apply, then you will become a good PhD too.
Okay, that's good. And how about the language barrier for this? I mean, the language and is English for the PhD no issue or something for the job as well?
Yeah, so for the PhD in Scandinavia, there is no such big issue of language. So people speak English like people speak in very normal. After English-speaking countries like Australia, USA, New Zealand, all these countries, this is the most English-speaking countries in the world. So, so the language barrier is not such a big deal. But now, for if you just have a, if you just focus on the education, there is no such thing. All education is English. Even I teach, it's in English. It's good to have it's good to have Danish. It's very good to have Danish, but with English, I haven't, like in my 7 8 years in Denmark, I haven't faced any problem with the. There is no such thing that is, that has stopped me because of language actually.
Great, that's and welcome to Malik Shajad, who will perform the co-host duties.
Okay.
And Malik Sahab, if you want to ask some
Yes,
question
yes,
to
sure, sure.
Dr. Haider. Yes.
First of all, we're really grateful to Mr. Heather, and I was listening this podcast live on the YouTube, and we're receiving a lot of questions as well. Right in the start, I think Mr. Heather has opened discussion very well. Now, Mr. Heather, the question we are getting most
Malik
now from
Shah Sahab,
listeners that are from the,
yes, yes, he is Dr. Haider. You can say Dr. Haider here.
yeah, sure, sure. Okay, Heather, now this is a very interesting topic when we talk about this your country, because this country is not so much popular in the Pakistani students. Now, the students here in Pakistan, they are looking for Europe. The best first, the most debate is in Europe, Germany, you have to pay a lot. You have to. Am I clear? Am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are
Doctor
audible.
Saab,
Yes, just complete the question, yeah,
Dr.
please.
Habib, am I audible?
Yeah, yeah, you are audible. Just complete the question. I think so. We understand you. What you want to talk? I think so. Haider Sahab already addressed this, and Haider Sahab, if you want to explain more, please.
I will be grateful if you can just maybe summarize the question again, because I was not
Ah,
able to
yeah,
hear. Yeah.
Malik Sahab, Malik Shah, just please explain, please, what you want to ask. I think so. There is problem. Okay, Dr. Haider, just another question.
Mhm.
For example, the final advice you want to give to these the students who want to come here for the PhD for the long term stay in Denmark. What are the stepping stones you want them to follow just to go come here?
Um, like for example, if you have to pursue your PhD, then you have to be very much obvious that what you have to do, with which area you have to cover. In Denmark, you cannot. It's a small country with 5.5 million population. It doesn't have anything like, it has a very big companies in the world like Novo Nordic. It has a big Grundfos, Danfoss. These companies are very big. So there are some areas where you can excel very well, but there are some areas there you don't have any future maybe. So you can say that. But it's a very first world civilized, very well organized and social welfare state. And people actually over here, they are very friendly, they are very nice. They are something, they have an international language. They have a Danish language, but they like international people in terms of language communication and all this, unlike in many European countries, they don't are ready to accept the foreign culture. So if you have to follow the path of education, for example, masters, then PhD, and then postdoc and ahead. So this is very good, like till PhD and postdoc and maybe till education, it's very good. But but whatsoever for long term, for staying over here in Denmark, you have to learn language, you have to adopt their values, you have to adopt their things that actually matters a lot in Denmark, like the lifestyle. So and overall, the work conditions, work life balance is amazing over here. People usually don't work that much as they work in Germany or they work in other parts of the. So people over here are very calm. So it's a wonderful place to live, it's a wonderful place to work. But for long term, it's maybe you can just say that maybe for long term people will say that okay, we have some maybe they have an aim of taking the passport, so it will take maybe 10 to 12 years to get the passport. So maybe in future, after 12 years, they will say that it was nice to go to some English speaking country and just get spend 5 6 years and then get the passport. But overall, if you have to learn, it's the amazing place to learn, because it is very rich country in terms of GDP, in terms of social welfare and many other areas. So yeah.
That's nice. And in UK as well, job and family are something, balance is very good. But you mentioned this is very good. And Ji Malsa, just ask the question, please. We could not understand you.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Yeah, yeah, you.
Dr. Heather, can you hear me now? Okay, Dr. Heather,
Yes.
my question to you is that people now prefer to go to Germany and Austria. They believe that is very cheap now, as compared to this one. Can you tell me what is the cost for the what you can keep in your mind for a master student who is coming to Denmark? First of all, can you tell us how much percentage Pakistani students are there in Denmark? Because there is not too much trend of coming to Denmark. So can you tell me that what is the trend? What how many current students are there, and what is the current budget you need to come to Denmark for your masters, or you do think that you do master from Pakistan and then come for PhD? If you can cover all these aspects here in this one.
Yeah. So the countries that you actually mentioned about Australia and Germany. So sorry, Austria and Germany. In Austria, it's a high standard of living too. I mean,
Austria and
Germany.
Germany.
Yeah. So Austria, in Austria, it's also very. It's not cheap. It's also expensive. Austria is also expensive. I mean, I have lived in Austria, especially the central area, the Vienna and all this. It has a high standard of living. So, uh, so Denmark is, as I told you, it's a small country, but it has a huge impact. It has a huge companies, big companies all over the Europe. With America, they have a very extremely big trade agreements, because they have a very huge history. Sweden, if I just will tell you about some history, like Sweden, Norway, these all countries were the part of Denmark previously, and they actually respect Denmark in many sense. For example, in terms of management, in terms of leading Scandinavia, having some companies that actually lead the way to the student. So if you talk about student life living cost, so it's in Copenhagen. If you are living in Copenhagen, so it's extremely high. Like it will be like high, I cannot give you the number, but I can say that it's as high, it's one of the top three maybe cities in the world, or maybe in Europe at least, that are most expensive, Copenhagen. So if you talk about the other areas, that the borders that are with Germany, and the borders that are towards the Jutland, I mean towards the side of the UK. So the cost of living is considerable low, but the pays are also low at the same time. Like it's just like the everywhere, it's like the same, I think so. So if a student wants to come over here, first of all, the students over here are not that much. who are earning. The reason is, as I told Dr. Habib, that because you have to pay the money, you have to pay the tuition fees. So one country that you have to pay the tuition fees, and then you have to pay a high cost of living. So students usually prefer to go to Germany instead, because the community is strong over there. There are more shops, or more utilities are a bit lower as compared to in Denmark. In Denmark, you can, for example, I just give you, if you want to go to some grocery store that is Desi or Indian or something, that you have to buy a grocery. So in Denmark, it will be one. In Germany, there will be 10, maybe. In Frankfurt, there will be 10. So it overall, the cost is overall high in Denmark. So students, self-finance students don't prefer to come to Denmark. So, but having said that, the Europeans, especially in Germany, also in Italy, France, Spain, they prefer to come to Denmark. They prefer, if because I teach over here in Aalborg University, because their countries are very good. They are first world countries, but they are first world countries you have to compare with the Pakistan or India. But when you compare with the Europe, so Denmark, these countries are at the top. These countries have the lifestyle, their cost of living, their salaries, their welfare, their education, their health, everything is free over here for them. So they prefer, most of the students that I am teaching actually in Aalborg University, they are actually foreigners. They are not Danish are not interested in education very much, because they have a welfare already. They already have a welfare. So in engineering that they do in 3 years, they usually do in 6 years, maybe. So because they say that maybe it will be helpful, not because they don't need to worry about the job. So if I just conclude all of the things, Denmark is an amazing place. It's a good place to, if someone has a money. If someone has money, he can spend over money, he will get a good output. But if someone like student, or someone who don't have money, he cannot afford. So there is not that much odd jobs over here. There is not, you have to pay a high tuition fees because of the language barrier. You need to, there is no such job as odd job. And people don't work that much, like that hours, because they're more relaxed. Like they, after 6 or 7 p.m, you will not see anybody on the streets of Copenhagen or Denmark. So overall, for a student like who is self finance, I don't recommend anybody to come here to spend money so much. Sweden is still cheap as compared to Denmark, but Denmark is not an option for a self finance, I'm sure.
And if you tell me something about scholarship to our students, what are the chances of scholarship for the masters, or do you think the scholarship is good for PhD and not good for masters? Is there any good chance
So,
of winning a scholarship here for master and PhD?
so masters, I told you that masters, most of the scholarships, like 5 to 7 years back, there was a lot of scholarships, and there were many fundings that were from Denmark government of Denmark. Then they stopped everything all of a sudden. There was nothing, and then there were few. Then I learned the cases. There were students that were from Pakistan, who actually came to Denmark, and then they were university based scholarship. It was not something from the government, or it was not something that was created by the government or innovation fund. So they were mostly from the universities, SDU, southern Denmark. So till if I just remember, I'm not sure about this year or the previous year, but I remember the openings of the southern Denmark university, southern Denmark, they were still open. And many people were sharing that on the timelines and everything, the friends I have here. So it can be from university, but from the government, it is not many. It's not many. But for the PhD, it's something that you guys already must know. There are some programs like Erasmus Mundus or something like that. But how I find the PhD, or how I someone should find the PhD, it's that you just highlight your area and then go for the websites. Work for the websites of the universities. These PhDs are employed in universities. They are not a scholarship or something. They actually get the money. They are paid. They are giving the taxes. They have the welfare. Everything is included. Even, for example, 4 years are the period for permanent residence in Denmark. And if you do your PhD in 4 years, you are a permanent resident if you clear the exam and everything afterwards. So it's a proper job. It's not something like a student. But there I have seen people over here in Pakistan who actually got some scholarship like PEEF, something like HEC, or something, some scholarship that I have heard of. And but they are also not very happy about living over here in Denmark. They are having a PhDs, but they are not having that much money, because the life cost over here, living cost is extremely high.
So, Dr. Heather, would you advise to some students who've got a limited budget, would they go for masters in Pakistan and then look for PhD abroad, whether it should be a Denmark or Austria, Germany, wherever it is your recommendation that do the masters from Pakistan,
I
the
would,
route which
I
you
would.
follow yourself?
Yeah, I did the same thing actually, and I would absolutely still I will do the same thing if I get another chance. The reason is that nobody ever asked me that from where I did the master. Frankly speaking, everyone asked for the last education what you have done. First thing. Um, the other thing is that if you really want to do a PhD, if you really want to do a PhD, then bachelor's. If I just talk about bachelor's is amazing in Pakistan. Frankly speaking, I teach usually to bachelor students in Denmark. They are the standard of maybe the assignments, and some people are more intellectual. The environment is nice and cleaner and everything, but the level of education of bachelor level. I'm talking about engineering at the moment. I am not well aware of sciences, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad, right? It's the same as in India. India is the same, right? People even because the name of Pakistan is overall not that good in the world, but like India has the same standards of education. Not every university, few of them, because India is very big. So people are getting direct jobs from based on their masters and also from bachelors directly from India to Europe. I know people who are coming directly on work permits. No, they are not coming directly on some masters or PhDs. So I would recommend, if someone has to do PhD and he has made up his mind that I have to do PhD, and he knows that which area he has to do, for example. And like for the same, actually the people ask me the question about bachelors, that we have done bachelors, so should we go to the masters at the same time, and then we go for PhD? So I just say them that because the purpose of going to school is to learn. So maybe if you don't have an area that where you have to learn, for example, if I don't have an area that this point is where I have to learn, then there's no purpose of going back to school. So you go to school, masters, identify problem, and then maybe go to PhD. And I'm pretty much sure there is people in Denmark and in Scandinavia. If you write a good email, if you convince them that I have done this work sitting in this part of the world, and this is the things that I can do in future, everyone replies, everyone gives you a chance.
So, Dr. Heather, what I got from your point to all our listeners is this: what you are saying, do the masters from Pakistan, identify a specific area, and then target and then come for PhD abroad. Is this what you are saying?
Yeah, partially I'm saying the same thing, but don't do the masters from Pakistan if you have to do only masters. I'm saying this is my complete sentence, because people will take maybe do the
Yeah.
masters from Pakistan and then that's finished. No, it's not like that. Even if you have to do MBA, if you have money, you have scholarship, then do from abroad. Exposure is also some of the things, but I'm saying that I came directly from UT Lahore directly to the Danish University on the first day as a PhD fellow, right? And it was difficult for me, the transformation, but PhD itself is a transformative. Everyone is teaching you. It's the last thing in your life that someone will teach you, and after that nobody will teach you. So it's good that you have to learn. The purpose of masters or PhD is to learn, right? So you can do the learning and you can do it from. So for me, it maybe it is difficult, the opportunities are less, maybe it's very easy. In Germany you have done the masters and you get the PhD. It's depend upon you how hard you work and how smart you are to transform your this local experience into the outside world experience.
Sure. Dr. Habib, please go ahead with your next question.
Yeah, I'm finished with questions, and Malsa, if you have, you can share. Otherwise, my last question is just, Dr. Heather, we want to listen some critical points in your life during this transition, which will be helpful for the audience to think about that.
That actually the top. I'm sorry, I'm sitting in Pakistan and the light
No
is
problem.
gone. So at the moment I am in Pakistan, so there is load shedding. So, but I will continue the conversation. I mean, the topic over here right now is that the opportunities for PhD and postdocs. But I will, other than the PhD and postdoc, I would say that people mostly who are actually pursuing PhD or postdocs, they are very much committed of doing something new, and something they have to invent something, or maybe they have to change their life. So I never left the school in my life. I mean, since I was childhood, I was admitted to school, and since now I am in school, I haven't taken any gap of education or anything. So it's good because I like doing that thing, right? So it's not necessary that everyone likes this thing, and it's not like you just take PhD as a just transition, just pick it up, just go into the school, maybe complete, and just start living your life over there in that country. It is also fine, everything is fine, but I would suggest that enjoy what you are actually want to do, what you actually. I'm not tired of education. I can do another postdoc maybe or something like that. I am fine with that. And PhD is not your life. PhD is part of your life, so enjoy your life and just travel and enjoy. So
Thank you very much, Heather Latif. Thank you very much. All questions are completed from my side. Any
yeah.
final remarks you want to share before ending this session?
Yeah, thank you for inviting again, and I would like to have such sessions. I have one. I have to give time to them in UMT, and that is also online. So I have no idea. 6 7 years. I have after 6 7 years. I have came back. So it's a very different sort of thoughts over here. So but so I would like keep your work up and just start keep in contact and just start have more communication with more people that are abroad. People, Pakistani people abroad are actually very hard working, so they would love to give you experiences. And this is amazing work that you actually are doing, making a voice, making a platform communication, so that other people can learn from that. So yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mal
So,
Sahab. Final remarks.
Mr.
You,
Heather, yeah, yeah, sure. Mr. Heather, when we started this debate and this conversation, no, we were so many students. One of the students just put a one question, and that stuck in my mind. He said, "You just need around 1 million to go to Austria, the neighbor of Germany. Germany, of course, you need a bank statement and you keep money in the bank. That's a different around 3 to 4 million. But people are saying, why not go to Austria with 1 million instead of coming to Denmark?" Apart from scholarship, if you're coming on self finance, then you have to pay a huge amount. And can you tell us, for coming self finance in Denmark, how much amount you need for a master student at least? Because in Austria, something, if you can go to other European countries with the help of 1 million, so whether they should go there or should they come to Denmark? I just want to Denmark versus Austria. I was That was actually the question.
Actually, the people that I know from Austria, whoever actually are on
Yeah.
scholarships, whoever I know. So, but Austria is
Okay.
a rich country, very rich country. I mean, and it has a huge standard of living because of Germany and because of their system. So, why Denmark? I never say anybody. I'm not a vocal. I'm not an ambassador of Denmark to just say that come to Denmark. No, it's not like that, right? But having said that, the cost of living, the tuition fees is extremely high in Denmark, right? Even in Sweden, people are doing from good universities. I mean to say, they're from good universities. Every student, the master student that I have met so far, are Erasmus Mundus. They are Erasmus Mundus, or they are some exchange, or some way they are linked with something. There are very few people Indian. There are some of my friends that are Indian. They actually spend a lot of money. They are paying that money, maybe 80,000 Danish kron they are paying per semester. 80,000 Danish kron is equal to maybe I think so 10,000 euros per semester, or something like that. So I would say there is a huge difference. There's a huge difference between the two countries about the cost. The tuition fees, if they exempt the tuition fees, then you should go maybe to Denmark and Austria. Europe is connected; they have different opportunities, but you have to do the PhD, something like that. Select your area, for example, in food, in something relevant to environment, in green transitions. Denmark is an amazing place, like has a lot of opportunities. Like they are the ones who actually gave the floated the idea of sustainability and something like that, right? They are very green, like they believe in this. They are very adoptable. But in Austria, I am doubt about that. I have visited many times, but I haven't visited with this eye or with this. But it's an amazing country, amazing country. It's unlike in Spain. If you compare Spain and Austria, Austria. If you compare Denmark and Austria, I would say both of them. So I would say that it's the choice.
I think Heather Latifah, Mr. Dr. Heather Latifah, thank you very much for such a useful conversation. And I hope so our listeners who will listen us in future as well, they will get a lot of useful information for that. So thank you very much.
thank you.
Welcome, welcome.